Hi, I'm Willie and this is the Breslin, and today I'm going to be talking to you about repotting my big box Monstera for a healthier plant and more aesthetic results. Let's get started. So the Monstera that I have had and raised and reared for like the past 3 years is pretty dysfunctional. I'm going to show you a video of it now, but as you can see, it just kind of has failure to thrive. Every time it pushes out a new leaf, they're really small, they don't have very many fenestrations, they have very few holes in general, and this thing is always slumping, and it doesn't matter how many poles or lattices or whatever apparatus I'm putting in the back to make it stand up, it always seems to be a struggle. And it makes me empathetically respond to this plant and wonder, why is this not working and what am I doing wrong? So I became emotionally avoidant to this problem and kind of created a new one. So my aspirations got the best of me last summer and I purchased 2 large Monsteras at the Home Depot for the amazing price of $25, and I brought them home. Now I will say when I saw these in the store, I was blown away by how big the leaves were, how many fenestrations and holes they had in them, and it kind of looked like a face hugger from Aliens, and I am just all about that energy. So after inspecting, I saw that these plants were, I think, top cuttings from a much larger Monstera, and in each of the pots there are 2 plants. Now this has been close to a year, and I will say that this plant is still going strong, but it has not reached that pinnacle of being healthy and happy because it kept growing out like it was actually backwards, which was very frustrating because anytime a new leaf would emerge, it just was flat, like on a plane, an existential plane where it was trying desperately to just maintain and never go upward. It wasn't reaching its full potential. I did a little bit of research and I've come to a conclusion, and that is it was not the plant's fault at all, and these top cuttings were just shoved into a pot in the wrong direction. Action needed to be taken to right them so they would grow into my coveted bush-like shape and make my large status plant. And consensus of the situation is the plants were growing out instead of up. And enjoy those gesticulations. This was the procedure of repotting this Monstera. I made notes so I won't miss anything. And I just want to say that if you are facing the same dilemma, I hope this video could help. I also just want to say a sincere thank you to one of my favorite YouTube plant channels, Kill This Plant, and their amazing video called No, You Can't Just Keep Repotting Your Monstera, because this helped me corral all the information I had found online and put it into a very usable form, and it's an amazing video and you should definitely watch it if you're watching this one. Okay, let's get started. So as I mentioned, I had 2 of these large, I think they were 10-inch pots with 2 different Monstera deliciosas in the pot. I removed the cover pot and started to dislodge the plant from the nursery pot. It was very large, it was pretty root bound, and it was a bit of a struggle bus, but I made it. So once I got the pot off, I took a look at the soil that was inside. I think it absorbed and kept a lot of water, which is great if you forget to water, but it also keeps the roots pretty moist. And for me, that's always a problem. I don't overwater and I don't underwater, but I definitely want to embrace drainage. So as you can see in this footage, the roots were very healthy. I gave them a little bit of a gentle massage to see what we were working with, and then I did the validating dividing of the plant. I worked diligently to try and remove as much of this peaty mix as I could because, as I said, I wanted to encourage more drainage with a soil that I knew the characteristics of and was easily able to maintain. My hands got really dirty, my nails got really dirty, and by the end of it, I wasn't mad at the plant, but I was mad at the dirt. That's all I have to say. Now, I knew that I was going to have to be staking this plant up because it kind of just needs to be retrained since it was slumped over for so long. So we got some moss poles, and they're tall enough they should work as the plant grows, which will be nice, so I won't have to change them out. And what is good about these is you can keep inserting sections up the pole, so it'll last a really long time as the plant matures. So this is my favorite proprietary soil blend. It has 2 parts of Miracle-Gro potted plant mix and 1 part orchid bark and 1 part of perlite. And then for good measure, we put in some worm castings just to start our repots off right since it's the summer season. And we added just a little bit of vermiculite. And that's just to keep enough moisture in there that if you're like me and you tend to underwater things, you have a little bit of an insurance policy. I don't know, in my household, I underwater and Nick overwaters. But this mix really does a good job of sort of splitting the difference. Now, when you're adjusting all of these in the pot, you kind of have to make sure you can identify what is the back of the plant. And the easiest way to do that is to find where these little nubbins that are going to be either the aerial roots, which are already coming in, or on this plant, since it's pretty young, they just had little brown nubs on the back. And you can also usually identify the front of the plant because it looks like a fishtail braid. It's also a really good time to phone a friend. I had Nick step in and help me hold these up because they can become really unwieldy. You can knock off tons of your really nice leaves when you're doing this. So just go slow, find a way to put the butts of the plant butt to butt like this, and then you're going to make sure that they look really good before you attach them to the moss pole, and be gentle. It's a process, you'll get there. I got there, and if I can do it, anybody can. Now you can attach these with a lot of different things. I have not had very good luck with sort of like that coated tie tab wire because I either put it on too tight or the plant shifts and it kind of grows into it. And it can also rust, which is just super annoying when you have white pots. So what we've opted to do over garden twine is to use these soft Velcro strips. I believe this is actually a plant-specific Velcro. It's easy to remove and to move up and down the moss poles at different positions. And you can also add it in and subtract as the plant matures. I give this a 10 out of 10. I use this on all of my plants in my house. As this progressed, truthfully, I was blown away by how much better the plant looked right away. As soon as I got those 4 plants oriented right and sort of nestled together, they took on this amazing sort of bulbous shape, and you could see all of the large leaves that were at the top in full glory. And I'm looking at it right now. It also seems like it's gonna catch a lot more sun, so it should be just healthier in general. Now, once we finished installing the Velcro, I schlepped this outside. And gave it a good rinse to flush through anything that was in the soil, any dust, any dirt on the plant, and I just let it have a moment. It was sort of like being reborn for me and the plant. I let it drain and then I took it back inside. Now to finish and make the whole thing a little more aesthetic, I added some orchid bark to the top of the plant. And this is just a nice ground cover in general for the top of your pots, in my opinion, because it encourages good draining, it looks natural, and your eye just isn't drawn to those little bits of perlite that is in this soil mix. It's a win-win. It's healthy. It's beautiful. I'm now on the floor sitting next to this plant, smiling, feeling successful and grateful for the experience and improving my life by repotting it. I think you should definitely try this if you're having trouble with your Monstera growing out or slumping over. And I know that this will probably at some point have to have more interventions as it grows out, and I do not think it'll get too big for this pot, but if it does, it's in a good shape, the roots will come together, and it'll be easy to up-pot it relatively. This felt good. I've accomplished something, my plant is happier, and I'm that much closer to having a healthy Monstera. This is a very new channel and I try and put out videos every week. So if you liked this one, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to continue hanging out, hit that subscribe button as well. I will talk to you very soon. Okay, bye-bye. You can see in here that like these are all facing forward and we have tied them to each to the two poles. It already looks better. Now I just gotta fill it in with smoke. Oh, I gotta clean this up.